What up? Reverend Brian Akers here, and this is It's Really Real, Racial Equity. This reference may seem really obscure, but in the movie American History X, Ed Norton's character has a little brother, and that little brother is tasked with writing a paper, and in writing that paper, at the end of it, he says something along the lines of, if someone else said it better, just quote them. Don't try to say it better than they did. And so it's with that in mind that I am presenting today a video of one of the religious science practitioners in my spiritual community talking about her experience of what she discovered as a white person trying to move into this greater awareness around racial equity and racism in the United States. And I love it, and it's so eloquent and so beautifully stated that I just want to let you kind of watch it. It's a little over 4 minutes, and then drink it in for a second, and then I want to make some comments about it before I let you go. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Kathy Butler.
Today I'm here to talk to you about our core ministry. We did some intense work as a community a while back. We explored racial equity through the work of Robin DiAngelo around white fragility, why it's so hard for white people to talk about racism. Through that work, we discovered that yes, it is hard for white people to talk about racism. This has so much to do with the dominance of whiteness in our American culture, our lack of formal education on Black history, and so much more. I, as a white person, discovered that I was ignorant of the extent racism plays out in our culture, and even more ignorant of the Black experience in America. A pause to address my use of the term ignorant. For most of my life, I've bristled at the use of this term. I had always interpreted it as an insult or a put down, implying lack of education or sophistication. It has another meaning, however, and that meaning is without judgment or emotion. It simply means lacking knowledge, information, or awareness about a particular thing. In this context, racial equity, I find it a perfect word to describe my current state. Since starting down this path, I've encountered many other white people who also own their ignorance of racism and racial issues. I'm not going to stop here, though. It's like the saying, you may walk through the valley of the shadow of death, but by all means, don't build a condo. I am committed to chipping away at the ignorance of the impact of racism in America and the Black experience more broadly. As announced in a blog recently, the core ministry is forming an affinity group for white people. The intent here is to give white people the opportunity to explore how our whiteness plays out in our lives, to increase our awareness of the ways we are consciously contributing to racism and the continuance of practices that keep us from affirming how life shows up in every one, and how we are keeping ourselves from knowing oneness with all of life. It is clear to me that this ignorance is harmful to all of us. Rest assured and know that we go into this work in partnership with our non-white oneness members, also known as the global majority. Several of these members have agreed to serve as mentors and guides for our work. This is most definitely not about exclusion, but rather about creating a space for dialogue that ensures no further harm is done to those who bear the burden of our ignorance. Ta-Nehisi Coates, American author and journalist, stated in an interview that Black people don't ask white people to explain the Brady Bunch to them. They just figure it out. In that spirit, this work will be about white people figuring it out.
So as you can see, it's really one of those issues where we have to come to ourselves. And so oftentimes I have felt like as a white person that this trouble or this issue of racism is out there somewhere and that I have to go and address it. But the second that I realized that the issue of whiteness and racism was right here, the more I began actually having an effect in the world and inviting other people into the work and being invited into Black spaces and being provided an opportunity to really make a difference in my life and the lives of others. And so to that end, I would say, what would it mean for you to go to your spiritual leader in your community and to adamantly request that your spiritual community was having conversations like this one about white fragility amongst white people, about racism with white folks? Because all too often we talk about racism in the context of Blackness, and not often enough are we talking about racism in the context of whiteness. And so I invite you into that challenge today. If you have a spiritual community or a spiritual leader or a group of individuals or a social club, even any group where you think you could host or have hosted a particular meeting or gathering to discuss specific things with specific people, what would it mean to gather white people together and to talk to them about what we're learning about racism in real terms, and then to help inspire each other and hold each other accountable to getting that work done? I'm finding out, not because I know how it's supposed to be done, but because I know it needs doing. And I invite you to consider doing the same. So thanks for taking a moment to watch this video, and hit me up in the comments and let me know what kind of results you're experiencing in trying to get this work done. And share it with your friends and share with other people, because more white people need to be talking to white people about white supremacy and racism if we're ever going to find ourselves transcending it. So let's do the work. Let's do what's ours to do and begin the internal transformation that will bring about the one that we wish to see in the world. Thank you so much. Peace! If you like this content, like and share it. And if you subscribe to it, that would be amazing. And most importantly, if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video, just click that bell and YouTube will make sure that you never miss a single one. Thank you so much for supporting my work. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And I'm just knowing that something amazing is unfolding in your life right now. Peace.